too. So,
Awesome.
hey.
Great. Okay, now we're recording. Welcome. I want to just start off by thanking our special guest, Julie Henderson, for joining us tonight. Julie, I'm very impressed with your wall of achievements behind you. Your office looks very put together. Oh, and we froze.
Yes, he's very frozen.
Okay, now it's back.
And he's back.
This is going to be a fun night. So Julie is another coach on TNL, and she is going to tell a bit about her story, but right now she's a 5-star diamond elite coach, and we got to meet, I think it was for the first time last year at Summit when we had our diamond dinner, and we had a great time hanging out. Tonight, I'd like to, first of all, just do a little round of introductions just so, everybody knows who everybody is. And then Julie and I have been talking about just kind of business strategies. She is a master of business and kind of working the system and finding all the loopholes to make this Beachbody business work the most efficiently for you. So, I just wanted to have her talk about that as well. So let's just do a quick introduction. And if each of us, we could just say maybe where we're from and how long we've been coaching. Jesse, you want to give it a shot? Oh, got to take it off mute.
Still on mute, Jesse.
Okay. I'm Jesse Santiago from Chicago, Illinois. I've been coaching since April 2012, and I'm presently an Emerald ranking.
Awesome. And Dan?
I'm Dan Menig, and I live in Lincoln, Nebraska. I've been a coach since March. I've had some roller coaster of events, so I am still very new in things, and have had various times of success and other times where I have not. So right now is not one of my very productive times, but looking at changing that.
Super. I think we are gonna, Julie, I've got my chart I'd like to share. I don't know if that's something that you wanted to talk about as well, but
yeah, absolutely.
Up and down times, we've got some interesting graphics to show. And then Peter, how about for you?
Pete McCusker. I'm from Lynchburg, Virginia, but I'm actually in my hometown right now, Patrick, Rhode Island, visiting family. So I took some time away from them for this call. So,
awesome. And
I've been a coach since March and kind of trying to just find the niche and see where it goes. So I know I've been talking to Michael about a lot of stuff. So, he's probably tired of my typing to him.
Never. It just means you keep asking questions. You keep pressing on.
Don't lie, Michael.
All right. Sometimes I am. Julie, let's head over to you. It would be great if you just kind of did a little summary of your journey so far, and then I'll kind of give the floor to you and we can have some Q&A also. Oh, great. Now I'm frozen.
Coaching. And so I am right now a 5-star elite qualifying coach. I live in Buffalo, New York. I actually used to live in Lincoln, Nebraska. I also used to live in Bloomington, Indiana, Regina, Saskatchewan, and I was born in Ottawa, Ontario. So I've been a little bit all over the place, but Buffalo has been my home for the longest. So I started as a coach in April of 2012, and to did not become a 5-star elite qualifying coach right away. It took a really long time. And I went to, and I think a lot of people think that, that the coaches who have a certain rank kind of got there right away, or it was easy. And it totally was not the case. It's work. It's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of being consistent and just being consistent through the high times and the low times. And so I went to my very first summit 2 months after I became a coach. I was a brand new coach in April. Went to my first summit in June. And basically, I became an Emerald coach when I was at Summit. And when that was my first summit, I told myself I would never miss another event because it was just that important. And so I've been to 3 summits now. I've been to the cruise, the Success Club cruise, the Success Club Disney trip, 2 leaderships, and a ton of other trainings that aren't even Beachbody related that I've, just gone to on my own. And every Super Saturday that I could, and I now host my own Super Saturdays here in Buffalo. So first of all, just events. Events are amazing. Events are so important to go to. But yeah, like I said, it didn't happen overnight. So it took me 2 months to go Emerald, and it took me 11 months total to go Diamond. And then it took me just over a year before I went 1-star. And so that was just being consistent, doing the daily things, and just pushing on. And this business is interesting because a lot of jobs we go to work, we work a certain number of hours, and then we get paid for those hours. And this business is completely different. This business, you put in a ton of work at the beginning for little to no pay, and you don't see your rewards right away. And it could be weeks, months, even years later that you're finally seeing those rewards. And so it's really tough for a lot of people to stick with it and stay consistent. So what happened for me, I just started following top coaches. I was following coaches who were doing it, who were doing what I wanted to do. I went in the back office and found the list of the top 25 coaches in the company. That is in the back office under, I think it's under like My Business, and then either My Business or News and Training, and then under Recognition. So you can find those coaches, you can find them on Facebook, and a lot of their pages are totally open, totally public, so you can follow them, see what they're posting, and it's also really interesting to see how different they are. So I think a lot of coaches too, when they're new, they kind of think you have to like look a certain way, talk a certain way, act a certain way. And so if you look at even like the top 10 coaches in the company, they are so different. Like if you look at like Lindsay Matway and Amy Silverman, I mean, they are about as opposite as, you can get. And so it's really interesting to see how them being them is what really, makes people attracted to them. And that's what really drives their business. And they're not trying to fit into a little like carbon copy mold of what a coach should look like, or what a coach should do, or what a coach can should post. And they're really being them. And by being them and being truly authentic, they're able to attract people that they want to attract. And so they're able to attract the people that they want to work with and the people that they would be friends with even if they weren't coaches. And it just makes it so much easier. You don't come off as salesy when you do that. And, really knowing like who you're talking to every time that you post, it's just such a difference. It helps your business so much. So that's a little bit about, how I got started. I know you wanted to talk about the charts that we have. Do you want me to mention that?
Yeah, that would be great. And I know I can do like a screen share, so I can share the chart that I made. I don't know if Julie, you have that ability as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of where that picture would be for me.
You want me to share? Maybe I can share mine while you look for yours.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And I just noticed that like all of our pets came into the screen at the same time. Jesse, you've got.
This is Andy. He's with me for every video.
And every time I'm in my office chair, Binks is sitting behind me too.
Aww.
So it's like a lumbar support, but a warming lumbar support. Okay, let me see if I can find mine. I'm gonna do exit full screen and then go to screen share. Okay, we'll just share the desktop. Okay. So right now you should be able to see my desktop. Kind of arrange this. Okay, guys, can you see this chart? Is that coming through?
I see it.
Yep. Okay. So about a week or so ago, I decided to kind of update my business stats. And I was just really curious just to see graphically what has been going on in my business since the very beginning. To really, my initial thought was I wanted to kind of see the trajectory of where it's going to be, by next year, if it's even just growing at the same rate. So what I did was I just used the numbers program, which is kind of like Excel, and made this chart, and I added up my income for every month. So each one of these little circles is the income for that month, and it starts right at the beginning of my first month was September 2010, and then that's much better, and then you'll see some blue bars up here that I kind of hid because I decided to annotate the chart. But that goes as far back as a year of Success Club points, because I wanted to see if what is the connection between income and Success Club points, and kind of where does momentum start beginning. And so in the beginning of this chart, 2010, I had what I thought was an amazing first month. And then like about 2 months later, it kind of dropped off, and there was this like little wave that was going, and that happened all the way until January 2012. And right around this time 2 years ago, I was feeling frustrated. I felt like I was putting all this energy into the business, but nothing was really happening. And what I realized was that I had disconnected from my coach, from Josh Spencer, from the training that was around, and I was basically trying to invent the wheel on my own. So came to a decision where I was like, I gotta, either do this or not do this. So I decided to reach out to Josh, and I was like, hey, let's see if we can get this going. So in January 2012, that's when I did training. Like I went through his training and actually did it. I didn't just kind of read it. I actually did the training. A couple months later, because of that training, I saw the advantage of making Rodrigo my very first coach. So that happened right there. And you can kind of see that is like the spark of when everything started to happen. Then I decided to go to my very first summit in July of 2012. So there's another spike. Later that year, you'll see that I actually took a big downturn. I got sick, and it was just like 3 months of getting sick, and it really knocked me off my game. I felt discouraged, I felt overwhelmed, and I was not being consistent with the things that I had learned. So that actually lasted through the very first quarter of January 2013, all the way up until March. And in March of 2013, that's when Josh ran one of his very first Superstar boot camps. And I applied on a whim. I did not think that I was going to be qualified at all. All these questions that he had on his application, I was like, nope, I'm not doing that. I haven't hit Success Club. I haven't read that book. I was just, I didn't know if I was going to be accepted. But I put my hat in, and I wrote at the bottom of the application, I really love this opportunity. You won't be sorry. And I was very just thrilled that I was able to take part of the Super Coaching Camp. And that's what this spike is. So that it was huge. And that was like one of the biggest motivations that I could see the connection of, if I'm doing the work and if I'm consistent, then I'm getting results. And I also started to see a trend show up naturally throughout the year. There's going to be waves where more people are interested in fitness, and when less people are interested in fitness, So it's kind of like the same shape happens every year, but it just gets bigger and higher. Then there's the summit in July. And then I started using some busyness with school and teaching, and I was teaching a huge load, almost like well over 2 full-time jobs, and starting to use that as an excuse. And not a big surprise, but everything kind of dropped. Then at the beginning of this year, January 2014, is when I just kind of said, look, I'm going to be busy no matter what. But this is something that I see value in. I see the opportunity and the vision. And I realize that the dreams that I have for myself and my family are bigger than what my teaching jobs and Rodrigo's nonprofit jobs could support. We want a home, and we want to build a family, and I want freedom to work on music and all of that. So that's when I just decided, look, I just got to do this and figure out a way. So there's that spike, and it's kind of gone a little up and down, but you can see overall it's much higher. Summit is always a huge peak. Near the end of the summer has always been a lull for me, and then driving into the new year is usually pretty strong. So the thing that I'm excited about, what I discovered was, usually around November, December, January, I had taken a dive and really kind of plateaued out, and that happened the last 2 years, and it hasn't happened this year, with this the last couple months. So excited for that, and I see kind of where things are going and how I can better plan for the future. So that's my chart. Any questions from you guys about that?
I found mine too, so I can show you.
Awesome. Let's switch over to you then.
Okay.
Let's see. Do I need to take it out of my own screen share? Let's see. Stop share. Frozen. Okay.
Okay.
And we're back.
Okay, so here is my chart, and I did mine, let me just get this out of the way. I did mine a little bit different. And so what I did is mine is done weekly, and the blue is 2012, the green is 2013, and then the yellow is 2014. And so this is my pay for each year. And so it's the way that this business is, you're going to have like high months and you're going to have low months. November kills me every year. I don't know what it is. I think that like now it's just mental, but like the first 2 years I had really tough Novembers. March and February are typically pretty good for me. So that's where you can see like these spikes here. These 2 big spikes are 2-star diamond bonuses. So that's why I added that in there with my income too. So that's why those are so high. But you can kind of see like you have the same ups and downs. And when you have like a couple weeks where it's high and then a couple weeks low, it's easy to get discouraged and think like, you're not doing something right, or, you're not doing what you should be or earning as much as you would like to be. And so this really helped me mentally just to see that, okay, yes, there are ups and there are downs, but it's still moving in that same direction. And I wish I had my dates on here, but if I had to guess, so here's April, and this is when I first started. So these spikes here are going to be coming right off of Summit. I always spike right after Summit. I always have a really good summer. And then when else? February and March are always really, really good for me too. And then, I'm like here, I'm still growing, but this obviously isn't as high as it was. So just having this, and I made mine in numbers also, really, really helped with just mentally, figuring it out. And I'm trying to think of where other events would have been. Like this would have been coming right off of leadership.
Mm-hmm.
This one here would have been off of leadership last year. And I could probably go through all of these and see some sort of either rank advancement or event that I went to that helped each one. And then also, like, just being consistent, it's crazy how much it pays off. Because like I said, you're not going to see the work you're doing now right away. And so I don't work any harder the months that I have like 30 Success Club points versus the months where I struggle to get 5. And it's really crazy because it's the seeds that you plant. Like, I have people 2 years later come up to me and they're like, okay, I've been watching you, I've been following you, and I'm ready. And it's just from being consistent that, you know, people just, it needs to be right on their time. So when I talk to people and I go through the forming and, you know, I'm inviting them to the challenge groups, if they're not ready, I don't just totally, you know, write them off like they said no, because a no really is a not now. And so I'll ask people, you know, I totally understand, you know, whatever their objection was. And I'll just say, you know, would you like me to get a hold of you next month when I run this group again? And so you're asking them for permission to follow up. So that way, when you do follow up, they appreciate it. Are you frozen again?
I just froze. I've only seen the movie once. I don't know why I'm freezing so much. Sorry. When I froze, you were just talking about asking permission for follow-up.
Oh, yes. So I just ask permission because it doesn't make you feel like you're going to come off salesy or annoying when you do follow up. And people really appreciate it because people realize that, you know, that you do care about their goals, that you are thinking about them, and, you know, that you're following through. And also with following up too, a lot of times people really have the best intent and they really do want to join you or want to do whatever program that you're talking about, and they just forget. Like, things get busy. I can't even tell you how many times I check my messages like in the grocery store line, and then, you know, something happens and you just totally forget to get back to somebody. Or, you know, people with kids, they could be, you know, messaging you, and then their kid's like screaming in the other room and they have to drop everything and go chase after their kid, and, you know, it just totally slips their mind.
That's a very good reminder, Julie, just in the realm of understanding that it's not just people that are completely blowing you off. Because I think that, for me anyway, that's too often not an excuse, but just the feeling that, you know, you just invested a whole bunch of time in them, and then all of a sudden, you know, they're just gone, you know.
Yeah.
I had one lady who, she honestly thought that her kids were on her iPad, and I would message her and she wouldn't, it would show that the message was being read, but nothing would ever get said because her kids were on there.
It's funny you mentioned that. One of my friends who's a coach, she messaged me today asking about a program that she wants to do. And then I got 3 selfies from one of her toddlers. And so about 2 hours later, she messages me back and she's like, oh my gosh. She's like, I was wondering why you didn't respond to me. And then I look at the message and there's like all these pictures of Ethan on there. She had no idea. So yeah, I mean, it happens, you know, life gets in the way and people forget, and, you know, most of the time they're not ignoring you on purpose.
Yeah, and I would just say, like, there's been so many times when I've dropped the ball with a message, and when people follow up with me, I'm just so thankful. It's like they're doing me a courtesy. Like, wow, I completely slipped my mind because I wanted to do it.
Yep.
I think, I guess the question is like, how do you know when following up is something that they'll be grateful for, and how do you know when following up is something that is you're just not getting the hint that they're trying to drop? And I think for me, it's probably something to do with the number of times that one follows up. I think that has a lot to do with it. So like, if you are following up with somebody and they don't respond after like 2, maybe 3 messages, then maybe put them on a list where you're going to follow up with them less frequently. Because sometimes people have difficulty saying no, and they would rather just ignore than have a clean no.
Give them permission to say no too. So if you follow up with somebody and you're not totally sure if you're being annoying or if they're being polite and they're just afraid to say no, a lot of times what I'll tell them is, let me know either way, because, the group is filling up or something like that. And it kind of gives them that out, and you're giving them permission to say no. And I think a lot of people are afraid of saying that to you because they don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah. As much as we can let people off the hook and feel really good about their decision, that's, I'm frozen. I'm frozen. Okay, I'm back. I was just saying, as much as we can, let people really feel ownership of their decisions and kind of let them off the hook if they, feel bad about saying no, because it's, I don't know if it's any better for someone to give you a reticent yes, just to kind of get you off their back. And then maybe they buy a product and they're like in the challenge group and they never interact and they end up returning it. Like, that's just even more frustrating.
Because then you're wasting your time with somebody who doesn't want it.
Right. Yeah. They just don't see the need for themselves at that time.
Mm-hmm. And you could be using that time helping people that really do want it and are ready to do it and make great changes.
Exactly. That is so good. Other questions that you guys have for Julie? I see Chad was able to join us. Welcome.
Having a good system for follow-ups helps too. I use a program called Asana. It's asana.com, and it's a little tricky at first, but I just watched YouTube videos, and that's where you can add in like information about people. You can add in different tags. So like if somebody has Shakeology or if somebody is to that, and that really helps. You can put dates to it, and so like if you have been following up with somebody and they're like, oh, I'm getting married in 4 months, I'm going to do it after that. In 4 months you can put the date on there, because if you think you're going to remember in 4 months, you probably
won't. Sorry, I froze and I just missed. Does it give you? Can you set it to give you alerts and or reminders?
When you go on, you can look at you fill them out like tasks, and so each person is tasked. And so you can go through and look at like all your tasks that are due today. And I think you can get them sent in emails too, but I don't check my emails. So if you guys ever need to get a hold of me, don't email me, because I will not open it.
I'm the worst.
So, but if you're good at emails, then if you check your emails, then you could have it be sent to your email.
Okay. Yeah, I think the follow-up system is such a huge key just to be organized. And what I've been doing, I've just been using a Google Docs spreadsheet for my follow-ups. And I mean, it does take some time to maintain. And when I drop off, I know it. However, I started at the beginning of the year, and I keep track of everybody that I've talked to, and I've reached about 1,200 new people that I've talked to this year, which was kind of cool to see.
That's awesome.
Yeah. organization, guys. How's that going for you? What questions do you have? I mean, I think I've looked at Asana and you know, I think I'll take a closer look at it now that I know that you're using it.
I can send you some videos that I use that were just from Beachbody coaches.
Awesome.
On YouTube, a lot of their training videos are public, so you can watch all of those. Yeah, I learned a ton from YouTube. See, that was one of the things for me. My coach doesn't do a lot with training. When I was a new coach, I didn't even know TNL existed because Josh isn't my sponsor, but I'm in his downline. And so I didn't even know TNL existed. I didn't know Josh existed until Summit. And so I kind of got to a point where I could either sit there and wait for somebody to drop training into my lap, which was not going to happen. I could sit there and complain about it like the other coaches that were under my sponsor were doing, or I could figure it out on my own. So I learned, like, you guys have no idea how lucky you are to have the boot camps. I learned how to coach through the back office, and we all know how fun the back office can be to navigate. I learned through the back office and Google and YouTube videos. And so even the new coach boot camps, those weren't out until probably a good year into me being a coach. And I was a diamond coach by then, but I was still joining new coach boot camps just because I always pick up something new. I did that superstar boot camp with Michael. I think we were in the first one together for that. And I always looking for like new boot camps to join, new groups to join, new ways to learn. And I mean, that's really been key to my success too, is just, I need to know how to do something. I go out and, learn it. Like I had never made websites before I was a coach, and I have websites now. I have a team website. I had never done webinars before. Like I knew how to go on Facebook to look at photos of friends and family. I knew how to type, and that was like the extent of my computer background. So
Julie, you mentioned Asana. Are you also using, I know there's the automatic CEO that I was at conference this past year or summit, and that was a big thing. Are you using automatic CEO in addition to Asana?
I'm not. I use MailChimp and Asana. And so for those who don't know automatic CEO, it's kind of like it's a database for your clients, and then it also has autoresponders. And so I use Asana as my database, and I use MailChimp for my emails. I don't have an autoresponder set up yet. Basically, an autoresponder is just you kind of plug somebody into a list, and then it sends out emails automatically. I don't have anyone in autoresponders yet. I want to work on that for like my challenge group. So like if somebody gets a challenge pack, day 1, it gives them a couple tips. Like day 3 or day 4, it says, all right, your box is going to be coming soon. Like, here's your next step. Day after that, it's going to be like, okay, take your before picture. It's going to, little tips to help them. I haven't worked on anything like that yet, but I definitely want to. So yeah, I use MailChimp and Asana. I think MailChimp's a little bit easier to kind of customize the looks of it than Automatic CEO, but I know a lot of coaches who use Automatic CEO absolutely love it and swear by it too. So I don't think anyone's really like better than the other. It's just kind of what you like and what you feel comfortable with.
With Asana, are you on a paid version of it, or are you just using their free level of things?
Just free.
Okay.
Yeah, just free. And
I'm
then
definitely one of the tech. Go ahead.
Oh, even MailChimp, I just have the free one because I don't have an autoresponder set up yet.
Okay.
So are you saying you're one of the more techie people?
Yes, that's what I do for my full-time job. I'm a graphic designer and communications coordinator. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, for like autoresponders, there's MailChimp, Aweber, Get Response, Entreport. I mean, from what I've heard, like if you want to spend the money, it's like crazy expensive. But if you want to spend the money, Entreport is amazing, and it's like automatic CEO on steroids. Like it even tells you how many, like who every single person who goes to your website, how long they spend on each page and everything. Like it's like it gives you really, really detailed information about your customers.
That information is good if you're going to go in and make use of it, and provided that, you know, they don't have cookies disabled and things on the end user, you know, those things aren't perfect systems either.
Right. Yeah, for me, that's more like if I had that, I probably wouldn't use half of the tools that it uses or that it has.
Julie, what would you say are some of your biggest challenges?
For me, I think it would be, I think some of my biggest challenges are helping coaches believe in themselves. And not taking it personal, because you're going to get no's. And so I think a lot of coaches take that personally, and I'm sure I did at the beginning. And the more you coach, the more you're going to realize that, like, it's not you. Most of people's responses are not you, it's them. And, you know, just through doing personal development and coaching is interesting because it makes you realize how much you don't know about people. I mean, it's like, you know, you almost become like a shrink as a coach, which is really interesting to, you know, to see the personalities and work with the personalities, but then at the same time, you're like, wow, like that people don't make sense. And so you almost like can't expect them to make sense. So yeah, I think it's just, you know, letting people know that they, you know, can do this, and, you know, not to compare themselves with people who have been doing it for years. And, you know, same thing with the fitness. You have people who, you know, have like big fitness goals, but they're too nervous to start because they see somebody else who has, you know, is 2 years into their journey, and they're like, I could never be that. And it's like, well, that person started where you were too. So I think just helping people build confidence.
Yeah, I love that. And I think kind of being transparent about your journey really helps to relate, to show like, yeah, this is where I started. I didn't know anything about websites, and learned. And
coaching and fitness. Because I think, you know, a lot of coaches think that they have to, you know, have a six pack, and, you know, you have to like, you know, be like this perfect body, and you have to like look like a coach. And it's so not true. Like, you sharing your struggles and sharing your journey and being real. If somebody thinks that you like eat lettuce all day long and, you know, just work out all day long, and that you never like let loose and have like cake or wine or anything like that, like they're going to look at you and be like, I could never do that, because that's just, you know, not me. But if you know, let people know like, yeah, you can still, you know, have fitness results and be human at the same time, that's what people are going to relate to. Like I'm vegan. And when I was a new coach, I was really nervous about posting vegan stuff, because I was like, I don't want anybody to think they have to be vegan. I don't want anybody to, and I'm totally not like a crazy animal rights person. I mean, I'm into it because of animals, but I'm not like, you'll never see me post like bloody animals on my Facebook wall. I like block all those vegans. But I was really nervous that people would like, you know, be turned off by that, or think that they, you know, would think they had to be vegan if they were joining me, or that I was like going to judge them, and now most of my team is vegan because I'm just being me and sharing me, and that's what people are attracted to. So yeah, sharing, you know, who you really are, sharing your struggles, that's what's going to attract people to you. And that's what's going to make you stick out too, and not be like a copy cutter, you know, carbon copy, cookie cutter, Beachbody coach.
Absolutely. Now, I'm curious to know, did you, in the beginning, you know, as you were following all these other coaches, did you start by kind of copying them? And, you know, was there a point when you realized like, oh, I need to actually just share who I am?
I think when I first started, like, time hop is really interesting because like you see like your first post, and I'm coming up on my 3-year anniversary. And so I'm sure like I'm sure in April I'm going to have like the worst posts to be able to share with all you guys. But yeah, like, you know, this sale is ending and here's my link, sign up, because, you know, I didn't know, and I knew nothing about like relationship marketing. I knew nothing about anything. It's like, okay, I'm a coach, you know. I think everybody, they kind of think like, I'm just going to put my Facebook link and tell everybody I'm a coach and they're just going to buy all this stuff from me. And what you really do is push people away because they're like, oh my gosh, you're salesy. And so I started following the other coaches and just seeing what they were doing, and mostly seeing like the wording that they were using and how they were being them, but still like getting the fitness into their stories and getting coaching into their stories. And I saw that a lot of coaches, you're not selling P90X because people can buy P90X anywhere. You're selling you, and you're selling your lifestyle. And so it was really interesting to see like how the coaches were weaving coaching into their stories without making it totally obvious, you know. And so it was definitely like selling a lifestyle. And then I think it was 2 years ago at Summit, Lindsay Matway did a same and different list. And so it's basically you take your similarities to other coaches and then what makes you different. And so your similarities, it's going to be like, you want to help people, you know, you're a coach, you're into fitness, things like that are very generic. And your differences are everything that makes you different. And so it's, you know, your personality, your interests, your family, your hobbies, everything like that. And so what a lot of new coaches do, and what I was guilty of, was focusing on my same list, which in turn turns you into that generic Beachbody coach that we all see posting the same exact sales, the same exact posts. And so when I really made that shift and started focusing on my different list, you know, you can really add more value to people. Like if I'm ever stuck and I don't know what to post for a day, I just look at my different list and I'm like, oh, okay, how can I help somebody by using something like this? And it doesn't even have to be fitness related at all. Like if you're into like home.
And we're back. So, yeah, focusing on your different lists. And I that really changed a lot of things for me as well when I saw her talk about it. Did you literally write down on a piece of paper this list?
And when I have my coaches do it, I always have them redo it because, and I usually have them redo it twice because they only put like 2 or 3 things or like 5 things. I'm like, no, make that list long. Like it's you. I know there's more to you than that. So I always tell them, like, I have it written in my boot camp and I tell them, I'm going to make you rewrite it if it's not long enough. And they never make it long enough. And I always make them rewrite it. But yeah, I mean, it helps a lot. It's really eye-opening, and it helps you add value because you really want, the more value you add and the more you can help people, the more they're going to want to come back to your page and see what you're doing. And, you know, the more they're going to want to see your posts and recommend you to friends and, you know, share your posts, which is going to reach, open up your audience to reach more people as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, you know, one thing that I didn't realize is that a lot of people follow, even non-coaches, they follow many coaches. So, you know, they're going to be following Scotty and they're going to be following Lindsay and I mean, all of these coaches. And, you know, if they see you post something that they saw somebody else post and like verbatim, you know, it just really screams that you're not really sharing something new, you know, of value.
Right. And sharing things from top coaches, like there's a coach, Caleb, who does, I don't know if you've ever seen his videos, like he makes great coaching videos. Yeah. And a lot of my coaches always want to share his videos because they're hilarious and he's great on video. Like that's definitely his strength. And my coaches will want to share his videos on their wall. And I'm like, all you're doing is advertising him. Like, yes, it's a great video, but now you're just taking people who could have been your customers and you're advertising your competition. You know, same thing with Lindsay Matway. I mean, she posts things that you want to share, but you know, you really want to not share them because you're trying to advertise yourself. And build your, yeah. She's smart. She knows what she's doing.
She does. we end up posting a lot of Caleb's videos just in our own coach group, just because it's
Yeah.
such great content. And
Oh yeah, absolutely. Coach groups are totally fine.
yeah.
On your wall is not.
Caleb and what he's doing there. Yeah, absolutely. So, if you could kind of, I know this is like a super broad question, but if there is like one or two things that you can kind of point to as the things that have been like game changers for you, I wonder if anything pops to mind for you.
Consistency, huge. I think just believing that you can do it and believing that it is going to happen. No matter how new you are, no matter how small your paychecks are. Like when I started, my paychecks were, I remember I had like 2 weeks where it was $0 and then 2 weeks with pay and then 2 weeks when it was $0 and 2 weeks with pay. And so I remember I was like, that was my goal. I wanted to break that 2 week cycle. And, then I got to like another goal and then another goal. And so it's really just being consistent and just going through the steps that you need to do and always doing it. Like I just posted in my coach group earlier today. I see a lot of coaches who become successful because they're doing the things that they need to do and with the challenge groups and inviting new people and the 3 vital behaviors. And then they get to a certain point in their coaching business and they think that they don't need to focus on the basics anymore. And they're not doing like the national wake up calls. They're not, inviting new people. And they just kind of think, well, I'm successful. I don't need to. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. So it's just, doing the daily steps. 3 vital behaviors is huge, and being consistent, believing in yourself.
Yeah, amen. So consistency and belief, if I can like sum that up. Yeah, and it's amazing, how much you start to notice how important those are when they're challenged, like when you're up against the wall and you're trying to pay bills or whatever. Like that's when you really find out, do I believe and am I consistent?
Yep. And this business takes time, but it's so worth it. I mean, and if you think of it like people who go to school for 4 years, pay for an education, they aren't earning money while they're in school, and then they get out of school and then they get their job. And so I think it helps to look at this business the same way. Like you're in coaching school as a new coach. We're not getting out of coaching school owing tens of thousands of dollars in school loans. But, we kind of have to realize that we are in coaching school. And so we need to learn the basics, and, we're not going to see the benefits from it until, after we go through, the coaching school and really like learn our skills.
Mm-hmm. Amen. There's even, stats about like new businesses that are open and how long does it take for them to be profitable. And, if you buy a franchise, it could even be, several years until you break even. And that's
the money people pay up front for businesses. Yeah. And they're just trying to break even.
Right. Like millions of dollars. if you want to buy a McDonald's, you have to put down like $2 million. And you even have to qualify for that. And it takes years to recoup that.
And then you're stuck with a McDonald's.
And then you go to McDonald's.
That was another thing for me with this business was just the freedom. I was so attracted to the freedom. I used to work for General Motors and I'm a college dropout. Did great in school. I just didn't know what I wanted to go to school for. And so dropped out for my 3rd time, got a job at GM making great money, drilling screws all day. I literally stood there and drilled 8 screws on a piece of plastic and then pushed it to the side and then drilled 8 screws. And I was like, there's no way I'm doing this for 30 years. So I lasted 6 years, quit. People thought I was crazy. I started dog grooming because I love animals and I just wanted to be happy. So I started dog grooming, and then I went to school for aesthetics. So it's like spa things, waxing, massages, and massages I went to school for. And, I was sold this like, oh, you'll be your own business owner, as a massage therapist and as an esthetician, you get to make your own hours. And it's like, well, yes, but you're stuck. Like you can only massage so many people in a day. You can, if I wanted to move somewhere, I would have to build up my whole clientele all over again, which takes like 3 years to even start to build up a big enough clientele that you would be able to do it on your own. And so when I found out about coaching, I kind of found out on accident. Like, I was a free customer. When you guys get free customers, reach out to your free customers. I was a free customer for 2 years, and I thought my coach was an automated robot on the other side of the internet, because they never reached out to me. And so I met somebody who was a real life coach, made a coach switch, and became a coach myself. Mm-hmm. So that person, could have had me as their coach, and I don't even know who they are. Mm. So yeah, reach out to your free people.
Yeah, I was a free person as well, and never heard from my coach. And then I got in contact with Josh and switched to him.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And now today, how has Beachbody changed your life now? You mentioned freedom, and are you coaching full time? Are you what is your life like?
So I started coaching April 2012. And I was working. I had just finished massage school. I was studying for my state boards, and I was working full time at a spa doing mostly waxing and then some facials too. And so I was busy. I totally had no right taking on anything else in my schedule. But I found out about coaching, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is too perfect. I was already posting on Facebook my workouts to keep me accountable. People were asking me about my results. I was telling them, go buy P90X, not having any clue. So a year into coaching, I lost my job. And I remember calling my husband up on my way home from work, and I was like, I just lost my job. And he said, congratulations. And he took me out to dinner that night. So I've been a full-time coach ever since. And he was a manager of small business for 22 years. And he just had his 3-month anniversary from leaving that job 2 days ago. So we are both full-time coaches now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's
so to say coaching has changed my life, it is a complete understatement. It has completely changed my life.
Yeah. And you kind of had to be pushed out of the bird's nest.
Everything is done out of your comfort zone in this. It really is. I remember just even, starting to do my own team calls for my coaches. That was totally out of my comfort zone, but I was like, that's what the top coaches are doing. And if I want to move this business any farther, then that's what I have to do. Doing the team calls, I do business opportunity webinars now. Super Saturdays. I used to drive. There were two quarters that me and my team loaded up in cars. One time we even rented a van, and we drove over 8 hours total to go to Melanie Mitro's Super Saturday in Pittsburgh. And so finally, on the last time we were on the way home in the car, and they're like, all right, you're running you're running the next Super Saturday in Buffalo. So that's what really pushed me out of my comfort zone to do that. So I've been running the Super Saturday since, which would have totally freaked me out at first. And, still kind of does. I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this. But since then, I have now been named one of the members of the brand new Western New York Market Council. So I'm working hand in hand with corporate to get corporate to our Super Saturdays. And Josh Spencer is coming out to our Super Saturday in January. Nice. So, but yeah, everything is outside of your comfort zone. So you have to scare the crap out of yourself. And then it gets addicting because you see just how much happens when you do push yourself.
Yeah.
That you're like, okay, this is, it almost becomes fun. And then you sign up for something new and you're like, why did I just do that?
Well, speaking of what's new, what is now outside of your comfort zone that you have your eye on?
I don't even know. I don't know. I'm almost running out of things. I have no clue. I definitely need to sit down and start thinking about that though. This year has just been crazy for me. And I was talking to Josh a couple weeks ago. I'm like, I don't even know where to go from here. I hit all my goals. I'm hope if all goes well and I'll be elite this year. It's going to be a juggling act through the end of the year, but my points are there. I just need everybody to stay active at the same time, which is a challenge in itself. So I don't know. We'll have to think of new ones for next year.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, definitely elite, shooting for elite for next year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll get that taken care of this year.
Awesome. Awesome.
So on the right track.
Man, that is awesome.
If you guys don't have goal boards, write down your goals. I did Shalene's 30-day push 2 years ago. It was January 2013, and that changed my life because she has you think of the top 10 things you want for the year, and then she has you figure out like which one is your push goal. And so basically your push goal is the one goal that if you accomplish that goal, it's going to help all the other ones happen. So when I wrote down my top 10 goals, I realized that my push goal was Success Club. And so I needed to get Success Club every single month, and that was what was going to help me get elite this year and help me with my rank advancements and help my team and help me with my income goals and help me with everything. And I haven't missed Success Club since. This month I just became a Success Club All-Star Legend, which is 24 months in a row. And it's crazy to like look back at the end of the year and just having them written down, even if you're not constantly looking at them, it just, there's some power in it. And it's crazy to see like being able to check off all your goals that you accomplish.
Yeah. And we're coming into a holiday season, and you know, for a lot of us, it's a time of reflection and how this past year went, and you know, what do we want for next year? So I know that I'm definitely going to be sitting down and writing down some things on my goal board and just really kind of seeing what is possible. So I'm excited for that.
That's awesome.
Well, that's good. Well, I'm gonna, we're at about an hour right now, so I'm gonna wrap it up. But Julie, I want to listen to you all day long. I love, I love what you're saying. And I'm frozen. Great.
Like I would tell to a lot, do you find, or what do you suggest would be a good way to follow up more without being like haunting them?
Free customers are funny. A lot of them don't ever respond. So I send out like newsletters, kind of like a bulk email. I'm not really consistent with it, but I probably send them out like between 1 and 4 times a month, depending on how much information I have to give out and, how on top of it I am. And so I just know that they're seeing it. And I always put my links for Facebook and, feel free to reach out to me. Here's how to contact me. And, every once in a while you just pull somebody out that's been watching. But even like handwritten thank you cards, because it's so not expected, especially in this day and age and social media. Handwritten thank you cards when somebody purchases something, especially if it's a free customer, that when they purchase something, I stick some of my business cards in there and, mail that, and I get a better response from that as well.
Okay. No, because I get a lot of free player ones, and I'll follow up. I actually use the it's in the training, the lead generation training or whatever, and I kind of follow their protocol. Are we freezing? We all look frozen for a minute.
I think we're back now.
But anyway, I try to follow up, but then it comes to a point where I don't want to do it too much because then it's going to be like overwhelming maybe. So then I just kind of stop because I don't get any response from it. So I don't know whether I should just brush it off and just ignore it, or what should I do?
I mean, you could do, like 2 or 3. And then, because some people just might, like me, might not be very good at checking their email. Text messages are good too, because a lot of people have their phones on them at all times. So you could text them and just be like, hey, I'm your free coach, just reaching out. Doing a short video and putting it in your welcome email that you sent to lets them know that you're a real person, and they can really see your personality in that too. And so they don't think it's just some like copy paste automated response to them as well.
Yeah. Because I used to add them to, I used to have the automatic CEO, and then I started do not call or do not contact, because they were getting all the automatic responders a lot. So then I would see it would say do not contact. So I'm like, uh-oh, like maybe they didn't want to see that no more because maybe it was too overwhelming to get all these email loads.
people are just, you can't take it personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I'm terrible with email as well, and I wake up every morning and I delete the same email over and over. Even people that I remember, like I willingly ask, please email me, and now I'm fed up with it. So that does happen. There is if you are struggling with a lot of unwanted emails. I subscribed to unroll.me for a while, and it worked for a while, and then it started like being weird, but that kind of cut things down. It like aggregates them all into like a single newsletter, which is kind of nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So good question, Jesse. Really good question.
Thank you.
Good. Anything else that you guys were wanting to ask Julie? Okay. Well, Julie, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I feel like I could listen to you forever. And just know that you are always welcome on our team calls, and maybe we can talk about something in the future. But I just really appreciate everything that you shared and just who you are, and just really appreciate everything that we talked about today. So.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And I'll send you all those videos for Asana too. So you guys can check that out.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'll share them with the group. And
Cool.
I'll upload this to an unlisted YouTube channel, and I'll send you the link so you can do whatever you like with it.
Great.
Fantastic. Well, enjoy your beach weather.
All right. You too.
All right, take care.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Oh, anytime. Thanks.
Bye.